everyone, it's us, and I have Kuriboh with me, and we're gonna do the patch note rundown. But yeah, this is my new Samoyed, and he's a baby. But anyways, I think this is the first time he's on YouTube. But yeah, so okay, put him down. We're gonna get right into it. Obviously, I have a cam for this one. I am on a one monitor setup, so please understand what's going on. I'm wearing a mask because other people are here with me, but also just because I like to keep my face warm. Let's get right into it. I don't know why it was actually down there, so okay. There's a lot of patch highlights, and obviously for a lot of people that have been wondering, obviously I've been out of this for quite a while. I've not made a patch note rundown in quite a few patches. I've been gone for a while. If you don't know what was going on with me, you can check out my last video. Obviously I have now joined T1, hence the T1 mask, the T1, all this good jazz. But let's get into what is going on. There's a lot of changes. I'll also comment on what my thoughts are on what's happening inside of the patch and whatnot. Now, Rell has come out. I haven't seen Rell. I don't know really what to think of her. I don't know what to make of her. So I haven't talked to anyone that went on to the PBE to play her. So at this point in time, I literally have no thoughts other than the first time that I saw her video. Amumu, base mana growth decreased. E base damage decreased later. R stun duration decreased early and now scales. Base stat. Mana growth is 60 to 40. Reaver of 1023 buff. This is actually pretty big for some of his clears, but not all of them. I mean, the first one is still going to be relatively healthy regardless. E tantrum base damage 75 to 175 to 75 to 155. So what I imagine this means is that if you still want to not really be too affected in mid game, you'll probably put E to 3 points for jungle clearing, because by that point you get Balmy Cinder, and then you'll probably start maxing Q. That's what I would imagine. I don't think that this is actually a sizable enough nerf to knock Amumu out of the woods, and then because the damage is so low at the early levels, everything for the most part is still totally fine. Our Curse of the Sad Money, stun duration, 2 seconds to 1.5 to 1.75 to 2 seconds. It's still fine given that it's a stun. It's no longer just a root or a snare or whatever. So the difference here is virtually negligible. Amumu is still going to be S tier, and you're still going to pick him in spots where, Amumu just ends up fitting really well with either champions that you're picking or champions that your enemies are picking. He's still going to be super powerful inside of solo queue at pretty much every single tier. So Amumu is not going away. And also, this kind of a damage change, this kind of a nerf to his mana, this is not affecting his 20-minute Baron potential when he has Sunfire and he has Aegis. Everyone knows it as Sunfire, but when he has Sunfire and when he has Demotic Embrace, he's still going to be able to do the 20-minute Baron. Okay, Anivia. Basic attack animation sped up, Q cooldown, missile speed, and detonation damage increased, pass-through damage, and cost decreased. Now it chills enemies, it passes through, E-cost flattened, and damage increased. R cooldown now scales, base damage decreased. Okay, base stats. So, attack delay cast offset 0.008 to 0.1. In other words, your basic attack animation has been sped up. That's very good. Basic attack missile speed 1500 to 1600. That's nice as well. Q flashed is, he did bark. Q flash frost 800 to 950. Welcome to the chilies. Okay. Flash frost now Camille. Camille, you like that? Flash Frost now chills enemies it passes through, okay? Obviously, that's definitely a nice little buff to it, but I don't think it really matters that much because, well, I mean, I guess it does matter if you're hitting multiple champions with a Q or you're aiming for one, but you happen to pass through another in a mid-game team fight. Flash Frost detonation now occurs at the correct location rather than slightly behind, okay? Cooldown 10 to 8 seconds, 11 to 7. This is obviously a buff for her no matter what because she's just getting time shaved off it at the end, which is all that matters. Pass-through damage 60 to, is that 160? Plus 45% AP to 50 to 130 plus 25% AP. That is definitely a little bit strange. Detonation damage, however, 60 to 160 to 45%. Now 70 to 210 plus 50% AP is definitely interesting. And then cost 80 to 120 to 80 to 100 mana. So this is a really, really big changes for Anivia. And I think Anivia is one of those champions that has been basically on the cusp of being competitively viable. For quite a long time. She's been really good in various metas and whatnot, and I think that in that regard everything's fine. E Frostbite, 50 to 90 50 to 90 to 40 mana damage, 50 to 150 plus 50% ability power to 60 to 180 plus 60% ability power is definitely another nice buff. And then Glacial Storm cooldown 4 to 1 second. Okay, and then base damage 40 to 80 to 30 to 60. Obviously, the utility that you're gaining in the earlier stages is infinitely more valuable than the little bit of loss of damage, especially because you're getting so much damage elsewhere. In more reliable spots. So these are massive Anivia buffs. Now, does this mean that Anivia becomes competitively viable? I think that this would definitely tip her into the competitively viable area. Does that mean that we'll actually see her? I don't know. In terms of solo queue, I don't know if these changes are actually impactful enough, given other stuff that's going on with Anivia, to suddenly make her solo queue viable, but this would definitely put it in the right direction. Annie, the queen, bonus movement speed decrease. This doesn't really matter that much. Bonus movement speed 30 to 60% to 20 to 50%. Obviously, you feel it. It just means that she loses basically boots tier 1, or actually a little bit more than boots tier 1 at whatchamacallit, boots tier 1 at rank 1. That's not, I mean, it just means you have to position a little bit better. And then aside from that, it's not the end of the world. Passive Ekko. Passive damage ratio to monsters increased in cap remove. Passive Z drive resonance. Passive ratio to monster 150%. Caps at 600 to 250%. No cap. No cap indeed. Okay, so that is very big for doing, obviously, epic monsters and whatnot. The bonus ratio going up is actually kind of insane. Ekko's in a really weird spot right now in general in the preseason, so I think that being able to reliably just go back into the jungle, I think, is pretty good, especially because a lot of AP junglers, they were all really hurt because their items got so gutted. Mage items in general, AP items in general, they're so bad, and the way that they build into their core item, they're all basically getting Lost Chapter, but there's so many junglers that didn't care about Lost Chapter. Evelynn doesn't care about Lost Chapter. Karthus doesn't care about Lost Chapter. Gragas doesn't care about Lost Chapter. So many of the old AP mages, they don't care about Lost Chapter, which is the basic component of a lot of the jungle items. And for mages in the jungle or AP damage dealers in the jungle, things have been looking really rough. So Ekko getting buffs are definitely good. Fizz, base mono growth decreased 57 to 37. This is much more impactful at the higher tier, where now suddenly Fizz is missing like an extra playful trickster inside of laning phase, which is more likely to be very, very big at the higher MMR, but probably negligible at lower MMR. Gragas, passive healing increase, W cooldown decrease, passive happy hour, 6% of max health to 8% of max health is definitely a very big buff to his passive. This is very big for top lane Gragas. Jungle, he's still super healthy, so it doesn't really do anything inside of the jungle. W Drunken Rage, 6 to 5 seconds. These are both buffs to top lane Gragas. Gragas is hard, especially in postseason jungle with less health to guzzle. It's really weird. Helping him clear camps faster to soften the blow. I mean, yeah, his clear speed being fast doesn't really change anything. These are both buffs to top lane Gragas. This doesn't really, I mean, it helps jungle Gragas, obviously, but realistically, anyone looking at this is thinking, wow, this is a really big buff to top Gragas and support Gragas. They're not thinking about jungle. Irelia, base AD increased, Q cooldown decreased. Irelia really hasn't found a home with the fighter mythics yet. Nice joke. So we're specifically tapping on the areas that will help her synergize better with existing mythics and also handing her back some cooldown for her immediate Sheen purchase. Beautiful. I think Irelia is really is a pretty interesting champion so far in preseason. She's actually one of the few bruisers that I feel like is actually genuinely viable. And obviously I haven't been a very big Irelia enthusiast over the last 2 years, so base damage goes up by a little bit. Now, this isn't just base damage going up. Remember, if you do end up building like Triforce or whatnot on her, I know that there's different build variations on Irelia right now. This is a different kind of, it gets a different multiplier, so it's definitely nice there. Q Blade Surge, 12 to 8 seconds to 11 to 7 seconds. This isn't as big. This definitely helps her in, I mean, it helps her in mid-game, I guess, a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, these aren't the biggest buffs, but it's helpful. Ivern. Probably going to be the biggest change of the entire patch. So I'm excited for, you know, our friend of the forest to come back to S tier, because it has been a long time coming where this champion has not gotten the deserved buffs that he has been owed. Kuriboh currently is sulking right now. But anyways, Ivern, fallen below par and deserves quite a bit of love. I agree. Root Caller, 14 to 10 seconds to 12 to 8 is massive. It cannot be understated how big this is. He's getting 2 seconds shaved off an ability that he doesn't even max first. So it's really, really big for early game. It's very big for mid game as well. Trigger Seed, 12 to 8 seconds to 11 to 7 seconds. So getting 1 second shaved off, and it's getting 10% ability power added into it. This is a lot of good EHP being given to teammates. Our Daisy, her attack speeds up, which means that her CC is going to come out faster. Ivern is coming into the meta at a really good time. There's so many tanks right now, and there's so many tank junglers. There's so many like mid-rangey junglers, and a lot of the champions that used to be very good against Ivern, only really Graves still exists inside of the jungle that causes him problems. But if you ban him out, then suddenly Ivern becomes really, really good. So really good situation for Ivern in terms of the champions that are very popular right now, as well as the ones that are flourishing inside of the jungle. There's also probably existing possibilities for like Ivern to go top lane, and I'll probably get to that later on. I know that Rengar is inside of this patch. There's also probably other really cute things that Ivern can do, and we'll get to talking about that when we get to the support items. Jhin, Q minimum damage ratio increase. Minimum damage 45 to 75% AD to 35 to 65% AD. So he ends up getting... Wait, what? Okay. So he ends up getting nerfed. Jin's in a weird spot. I mean, AD carries in general are in a really weird spot. I was actually thinking about this because I just did the 1025 tier list, which is going to be on Patreon. I haven't updated a tier list in a couple of weeks. I know that. I was mostly gone for the last month and a half. And as I was going over the tier list, I was consulting with various people like while making it and stuff. And one of the things that we talked about is that AD carries are really, really, really good at very high MMR, but at low MMR and mid MMR, they're outclassed by like mages. Like you'd probably have a better chance taking a mage or like a support champion like Soraka or something in the AD carry position and actually probably just having a better result, because what makes AD carries good right now and what makes them good with their items is not likely to be found by players at that MMR. And so it's this really weird situation where it's going to be interesting to see how Riot tries to tackle it, but yeah. Karthus, Q cost decrease later, damage ratio increased. Now, this is something that is... Okay, so it's not actually here. This is really weird. So, there was actually a note in the 1025 that apparently didn't end up making it to live release, where there was a comment. I'm not going to say what the comment was, but the comment, I found it to be very strange, and I think it would have set a precedent for something. It would have been the first time ever that such a comment would have been made in regards to the meta. But anyways, Q Karthus decrease later, damage ratio increase. So cost 20 to 44 to 20 to 40 doesn't really matter, because mostly what you're looking at is his rank 1 to his rank 3. That's all that really matters inside of his jungle, because at that point then he's clearing fine. He's getting a very little amount of mana. He's probably getting 1 to 2 free Q casts inside of the jungle, which, I mean, that's nice. Damage ratio 32, 35%, always love it. Karthus is still S tier in the hands of people that really are good at Karthus, so that definitely can't be understated. Kayle, base magic resistance decreased, E passive damage ratio increased, so this is really strange. Magic resist 34 to 30. The thing that's interesting about this is it makes her a little bit more vulnerable to certain tanks in top lane, and it makes her more vulnerable to like Mordekaiser and a Kayle in particular up in top lane. But outside of that, it doesn't really do a whole lot. E Starfire Spellblade, 25% to 20% AP. So this hurts only when she builds Nashor's Tooth, but if you've been watching a lot of the Kayles, yes, I know that there's a lot of Kayles that do build AP Kayle, but a lot of them just go Kraken Slayer, in addition to Nashor's Tooth. And this is the thing that I find so interesting, because if you just go AD Kayle, this doesn't really do anything. Kayle's still going to be God. And, and she's really going to capture that angelic presence that she's meant to bring to SoloQ. Elo heaven. Kayn, base armor decrease, Q base damage decrease, cooldown increased. Okay, base armor 38 to 35. This is really big for top lane. Jungle, he's still so healthy, it doesn't really matter. Q reaping slash, base damage 75 to 155 to 65 to 145, cooldown 6 to 4 seconds to 7 to 5 seconds. So Again, I feel like this hurts top lane Kayn way more than it hurts jungle Kayn. I feel like he's still going to be clearing the camps roughly in the same amount of time, that it doesn't impact him. The armor, I think, is negligible for his sustain as long as you're kiting correctly and using his Reaping Slash. The thing that you have to acknowledge about Kayn, though, is that I feel like this actually hurts Shadow Kayn more than it hurts Rhaast of the two. But it doesn't really matter. Rhaast is still going to be S tier. Lee Song, base armor increased, W cooldown decreased, E base damage increased. Base stats 33 to 36, okay. W safeguard 14 to 12 seconds. E Tempest 60 to 240 to 100 to 260. So he's getting some base buffs. The problem is that Lee Sin doesn't have a really viable way to build right now, and that's where the problems are really coming in. And so it makes it really awkward. I mean, he's a champion that realistically should only be allowed to thrive inside of a solo queue environment where there's less coordination and stuff, but he's definitely suffering right now inside of the game. Lulu, Q base damage decrease, deals bonus damage to targets hit with both bolts, removed pass-through fall-off damage, deals less damage to minions. Okay, Glitter Lance, base damage 80 to 220, 70 to 210, hitting a target with both bolts now deals 25% bonus damage. Just a bolt, bolts pass-through fall-off, okay. Bolts deal 70% damage to minions. This is still totally fine. This definitely is shifting Lulu back into mid and top lane, where she's still going to be able to CS fine. And it's just going to make her a little bit more of a lane bully. It also does help support Lulu as well. So very nice changes for Lulu. Mordekaiser Q isolated, enemy damage increased, obliterate 20 to 35% to 30 to 50%. I mean, the thing about Mordekaiser is the way that he builds. I mean, this 15% amplification at max rank, it's so negligible on obliterate. I mean, obviously it helps him inside of the death realm, but outside of that, it just... Mordekaiser just doesn't feel that good, especially with the way the meta is right now. Morgana, W dot decrease later. This is really strange. It's making her really strong in solo lane, and yet I never saw Morgana or never heard about a Morgana, so I don't know where this is coming from. I guess I would be curious about that. Damage per second, I mean, going down is just really sad. This just hurts support Morgana more than anything. Nasus Q cooldown decreased. Due to changes to cooldown reduction, Nasus is finding it difficult to ramp up frequency of strikes, directly reducing its base cooldown lets it scale better into the late game. So I'll tell you the problem about Nasus. So even when his cooldown is going to be super low at the later stages, and I get why they're doing this with cooldown haste and whatnot, or ability haste, the thing is that Nasus is still going to Q auto Q. That pattern doesn't change. So this CDR in the later stages doesn't matter, and Nasus with the current items just suffers too much. So I don't know what they're gonna do to try to fix Nasus, but this ain't it. Nidalee, Q cost decreased later, damage increased later, E cost decreased. Okay, Javelin toss 50 to 90 mana to 50 to 70 mana. That definitely helps her. Minimum damage 70 to 130 plus 50%, 70 to 150 plus 50%. Okay, more damage, maximum damage 210 to 390 to, plus 150% to 210 to 450 plus 150%. So the thing is that anytime Nidalee continues to get base damages like this increased, it incentivizes more and more any ways that she's able to go support Nidalee. That was actually the best build for her at Worlds. Some people might have remembered a screenshot that I ended up posting on Twitter. It showed the damage differential between the Arden Athene's Nidalee or Mikhail's Nidalee versus the Lichbane Nidalee, and the damage differential was very minor, but the upside and the utility granted by the other items was very, very big. Nidalee should still do the same thing. Primal Surge, 60 to 120 to 50 to 90. So nice little buff there. Pantheon, realigning Pantheon to better support the various roles he's been taking on the Rift. Okay, so Riot initially did not want him to end up as a support, with the intention to destroy Pantheon, support Pantheon, but rather to adjust the role's power. Okay, base movement speed, he loses 10. This is really, 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 really sad. It hurts jungle Pantheon a lot, hurts top Pantheon, his spacing, hurts mid Pantheon, hurts support Pantheon. This hits every single role. Passive more to will. Pantheon now gains 5 stacks while he recalls. Great. Doesn't matter unless he's going to immediately R or something. Even if he was going to do that, there's ways for him to get his passive. This just strikes me as very luxurious and very rare to ever actually come into play, but whatever, we'll take it. It's a buff. Q, Comet Spear. Early release, cooldown refund 50 to 60%, doesn't matter. Early release bug fix, cool, cost 40 to 30. That's big for everything, so that's sort of whatever. Comet Spear no longer slows, okay. W Shield Bolt. Base damage 60 to 140 to 60 to 220. So now the question is do you max the second because it gets so much base damage? That's something that you could end up asking yourself. When Pantheon hits an enemy with mortal, okay. So it's a bug fix. Aegis Assault. E no longer blocks turret shots. So this hits everyone. yes, it does hit support more than others because you turret dive with your jungler and you do very imbalanced and unfair things. Totally understand it. I mean, obviously it affects mid lane, it affects top lane as well with your jungler and whatnot, but support is definitely going to be the one that feels it the most. Redirection, slow, 50% based on movement direction, 25% based on movement direction. Mortal Will Empowerment extends the duration of Aegis Assault. When Pantheon slams his shield, he consumes Mortal Will stack to gain 60% movement speed, 1.5 seconds. So this is pretty interesting because it gives him some repositioning power, which is definitely nice. I mean, the E extension was very rare, but I would say that it was used more in support than it was used in any other lane. And again, it has to do with the turret shot tanking, and so there's that. But yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, it just looks like Pantheon's being hit unfairly, and this has nothing to do with. I mean, top jungle and mid are just suffering for no reason. Our Grand Starfall. Pantheon gains 10, 20, 30% armor penetration. Pierce the heavens. Now, this is massive for lane Pantheon, because ultimately what this ends up doing is he's basically getting a serrated Dirk passive for free inside of lane. Now, yes, this helps every single role, but definitely those roles can get a little bit more help. Now the problem is this is a passive, so you actually have to, it's not like it's attached to his passive, you actually have to skill the level 6. Sometimes when you play lane Pantheon, you don't actually skill ultimate at 6. Sometimes you do it at level 7, or sometimes you do it at level 8, and that way you maximize damage inside of laning phase. Now I will say that with the changes to his E, it might indeed mean that you do max W second, but we'll have to see. The problem is that W deals magic damage, and this is giving armor penetration, so sort of, you know, weird there. X marks the slow. The spear that lands before Pantheon now slows for 50% and applies a spear's worth of damage. That's very nice, especially because you're getting armor pen. Grand Scholar's Indicator now appears to both Pantheon and allies at the start of channel. That's a nice little fix as well. At the end of it, Pantheon will still probably exist in combo lanes. He'll still exist with Pantheon Taliyah. He'll still, he'll exist with other kill lanes and whatnot. He'll still exist Pantheon Soraka, down in bot lane and whatnot. He'll still exist in lanes like that. Nothing that I see here, though, indicates that he should move out of support and magically go into another role, especially not with the nerfs that they gave to the other roles. Samira, goodbye. Passive updated to extend knockup duration on already knocked up targets. Q and R lifesteal effectiveness decrease. Q crit bug fix. Passive Daredevil Impulse. Instead of knocking up immobilized enemies, Samira now keeps already knocked up enemies in the air for at least 0.5 seconds. At least. What does that mean? Samira can still dash into range for a basic attack against immobilized champions. That's a very nice passive change with obviously champions that knock up opponents. So like Gragas, Alistar, whatnot. These are very nice changes because that's a lot of extra CC. Q Flare, crit lifesteal, effectiveness 166 point. Ooh, that's the first time I've seen Riot use it. So if you guys watched me cast the LCK, which, rest in pieces, I used to comment on how it seemed like Riot always had a point to use 66.7, because I thought maybe it had to do with like religion or something like that, and so they didn't want to use 666 because obviously 666 is a sign of Lucifer, or Samael, whatever. Our Inferno trigger 166. Yeah, so okay, that's interesting. So a lot of hits to Samira, which is definitely very sad for her because 80 carries are really, really, really good, but I feel like this is too heavy. I feel like they're overkilling it, like what they did to Aphelios. Hi, Kuriboh. Seraphine, base health growth increase, self-shield increase. So the thing that I want to talk about here is the really weird thing that Riot's trying to do. If you guys remember, Riot intentionally brought Karma and Lulu out of mid and top lane because they didn't want those champions who had supportive kits to appear normally in mid and top lane. They did this to other champions as well that they wanted to shift into the support role. And for some unholy reason, Riot, skins, money, are trying to really push Seraphine into solo lane Seraphine, even though she's one of the best supports currently existing inside of the game with the change to the new items, the way that the meta is right now. Her kit is just so overloaded. It is so strange how such a good and strong champion consistently keeps getting aid skins money. And so basically what's going to end up happening is eventually she's just going to be pick or ban, and everyone's going to want to play her, which is going to turn into buying skins money. And right, it's going to be a song for the ages, we're going to sing home about it. Surround sound, health growth, up by 10, just randomly give her a ruby crystal, and a little bit more on top of it. W surround sound, Seraphine's personal shield is now increased by 50%, shield value is 90 to 80 based on level plus 45% AP. This makes no sense. It literally makes no sense why they're doing this. Whatever. I guess Lulu and Karma didn't sell enough. Anyways, Shyvanna. Adjusted Shyvanna's passive on non-Summoner's Rift game modes. Like, okay, cool. Taliyah. Subsequent Qs no longer deal reduced damage to monsters. That's a nice buff for Taliyah. I mean, I guess Riot's seeing like the front page stuff on Reddit. There's been a lot of complaints there lately about Taliyah as a champion, and so that's kind of weird. Subsequent hits no longer reduce damage on monsters. I mean, that's nice for her, but same problem, right? Taliyah, what is her jungle item supposed to be? Is it supposed to be Luden's? Because Luden's doesn't really make sense for her. Is it supposed to be Liandry's? Because Liandry's has a really weird build path. I already talked about that earlier on. The fact that Lost Chapter is such a core component, and yet so many of the junglers don't want it, makes it really, really, really weird. Because that's not like the item that they think of, because it doesn't provide enough inside of the jungle. You're spending so much gold for just 40 AP, mana that usually is pretty much irrelevant. The passive of Lost Chapter is irrelevant, usually inside of the jungle. You have Honey Fruit and whatnot. You have Gromp giving you stuff back. I mean, at that point, your sustain is likely fine on all of these junglers. So it just doesn't make sense. And so until Riot maybe addresses that, champions like this are just going to feel a lot of pain. Twitch, Q attack speed increased, W slow increased, R bonus damage increased. Both AD and AP Twitch are significantly underperforming. Our goals are for both to be viable ways to play him. Okay, Q ambush. What's going to end up happening is he's going to end up like Kai'Sa, where he just has like a hybrid build path or something in the future. Q ambush, 30 to 50% to 40 to 60%. Okay, cool. I mean, this helps both. Venom Cask, slow 25 to 45% to 30 to 50%. Not really that big. It just takes away almost tier 1 boots from the opponent. Yeah, I mean, it takes away magical boots, right? Or a little bit more than magical boots. Magical boots and a half almost. R spray and pray, 20 to 40 to 25 to 50 bonus attack damage. I mean, this is very small, but I mean, these are all definitely very welcome buffs. I do think that Twitch is viable still at the highest MMRs. Yasuo, boost attack speed growth increased. Yone, same exact thing. So, the brothers in arms are definitely getting the changes. They're just randomly getting a dagger and a half, so free 450 gold buffs given over to them. Now, I will say that Yasuo, unlike his recently released brother, is definitely dealing with the changes and everything a lot worse. Yone is a lot better. If the opponents have a lot of hard-on engage, they have a lot of sustain trading, but not a whole lot of ways to like reduce healing or something, then you have you have shield bow on Yone. If you need Yone to be a damage dealer, Yone is still one of the strongest scaling champions in the entire game. He gets Kraken Slayer, so he's just really, really, really strong. Rengar, W healing from monsters increased, now deals bonus damage to monsters. So this is what I was referencing earlier when I was talking about Ivern, and why Ivern might have potency to be either support, mid, or top lane or something, and there might be weird combos. Now, this is obviously for very high-end MMR or something fun to do with your friends in Clash. W healing from monsters increased, now deals bonus damage to monsters. So Battle Roar, 75% of the damage he's taken from monsters to 100% of the damage he's taken from monsters, so he's basically going to be permanently full now. W deals 65 to 130, levels 1 to 18, bonus damage to monsters. So this is definitely really, really big for Rengar inside of the jungle. He slots in well, but he is a team composition jungler. So one of the things that I am definitely wondering is if like you do something like Tank Rengar. I think that Tank Rengar probably... Oh. What's wrong? Hmm? What happened? Oh, he was chewing on the chair. Okay, he's fine. No, Kuriboh. Chunky. He was chewing on the chair, and I think yeah. All right. So Warwick passive bonus damage increased. Tooltip updated to reflect accuracy. Okay. The loss of both Tiamat and Machete took its toll on Warwick's skill tree, and his builds are now looking very tank heavy. Looking to buff that back up and add some more incentive for damage items. Okay, passive Eternal Hunger, 10 to 44 to 12 to 46, plus 15% AD, bonus AD, and 10% ability power. Okay, so this is a really nice passive for him. Warwick is still suffering from like a lot of problems, though. I don't even know what his jungle item actually is. I genuinely have no idea what his jungle item actually is right now. I like that they give him hybrid potential build path, depending on like maybe what you want to do with him, but I don't think this makes him viable. Talon, W return damage increase later. W rake return damage 45 to 125 to 45 to 145. Not the biggest, but I mean it's definitely something that he'll take, especially, you know, he goes Prowler's Claw or something like that. It just means even more damage gets amplified. Wukong, E down deals damage to monsters. So it's for jungle Wukong, but you don't want to play him inside of the jungle. There's too many champions that just, they do everything that he's trying to do, but better. There's no reason to have him in the jungle. Okay, so grouping some individual items since most of our changes. Okay, the Collector, Death and Taxes executes all enemies, targets except epic monsters and turrets, enemy champions. Okay, this is fine, whatever. Mirror Mana, shock damage proc, procs on abilities and basic attacks, procs on abilities that deal physical damage and basic attacks. Okay, so this is obviously interesting. It's a nerf to a lot of champions that have been abusing it. If Ezreal is still going to go Mirror Mana, which I don't know if this is like a Korean Ezreal trend, but a lot of the Korean Ezreals are doing, I think they're doing like Sunder or Mirror Mana Frozen Heart and then other stuff. It's definitely very strange. This is just the old season 10. He's still fine. So for champions that were obviously abusing Mirror Mana, they're no longer going to be doing that. And I think that's totally fine. Q, Guinsu's Rageblade. Seething Strike conversion. Now converts your crit chance to on-hit damage, leaving you with 0% crit. So now, I was actually talking with someone about this, and one of the things that they pointed out was Tryndamere suffers and cannot build Rageblade anymore, because now the question ends up becoming, do you want to deal more damage, or do you want to never have your spin, because he can no longer crit. So he can either deal more damage and give up utility, or he can not have his spin as frequently, which then equates to damage because you're spinning so much and having utility. So ultimately, this just nerfs some champions really hard. I don't know. I can't think of other interactions off the top of my head that this makes sense for. Zeke's Convergence 300 to 250, Armor 30 to 25. Convergence Mark Duration 4 seconds to 8 seconds. Convergence Bonus Damage 25 to 50 to 30 to 70. Just seems really weird. Seeker's Arm Guard Ability Power 30 to 25, because I mean mages needed, you know, they needed more nerfs. I mean it just makes no sense. This reminds me of the first time that all the mage items got hit. Mage items are just really bad right now. They're genuinely really bad, and I feel like whenever I say this on stream recently, whenever I have conversations about this on other people's streams, when I'm on voice chat or something, the chat or people, they just react to it as if it's not true, but it is true. They're worse than before. It's dealing less damage. A lot of the build paths for certain champions just feel worse. The other thing about mage items being worse is that tanks inherently get a lot better. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It reminds me of when Riot initially nerfed all the mage items, and it just felt really bad. Yes, Akali is killing you. It's not because mage items are good. It's because Akali is just dealing a lot of damage. Katarina is killing you. She's not using mage items. She's using Kraken Slayer. She's going AD Katarina. What other mages am I even really missing? I mean, you look at a champion like Brand. He suffers a lot. He deals way less damage than he used to. You look at a champion like Malzahar. Malzahar is still really good right now, but the old Malzahar had a little bit of different upside and like other stuff that was going on there. Cassiopeia was just using Mirror Mana, right? She was using a different item. So many things just aren't making a whole lot of sense. Victor got changed in other ways. You know, you look at champions like Swain or something, you look at Ziggs. It's mostly the champions. It's not really the items. But anyways, certain junglers who get high value out of fast attacks and AoE have been significantly overperforming since preseason began. So we're okay. Basic attacks no longer grant one tick. Ooh, really big hit to Graves. Really big hit to Graves on this. But I guess that doesn't really matter. I mean, this doesn't really affect too many other champions that much, but it's totally fine. Support items, some cleanup too. Okay, Bandle Glass Mirror. So this is where things get really comical. Cost 365 to what's he doing? Kuriboh, no, Kuriboh, no, don't go there, Chunky. Kuriboh, here. I'm sorry. This will not be edited out. I do not have a video editor. Oh, geez. Don't have a video editor for this one. But for future ones, T1 will be helping. And not only will T1 be helping, they'll be released literally almost as soon as the patch notes go live, and they'll have edits. So a lot of this like filter, a lot of downtime. You know, they'll have like the standard YouTube cuts. So there's not a lot of time. My hair is in my eye right now, and I apologize that you guys are here for this part. If I was streaming on Twitch right now, they'd say what hair or something, because I did just get out of a shower and I rushed to make this for you guys. Chemtech Purifier, 450 to 550 gold. Okay, this is whatever, build path, okay, Imperial. So this is the comical thing. So Imperial Mandate, right? The best support item. Buffed. Buffed, okay. 60 to 100 to 36 to 60. Buffed. Ally damage, 60 to 100 to 90 to 150. So you lose 40 here, but you get 50 here. So as long as you proc it with parts, which you will, you're dealing more damage. Why is this a thing? Why is it getting buffed? It doesn't make sense. It's 200 less and now it's dealing more damage later. It literally makes no sense. It makes no sense. Moonstone Renewer, total cost. So this gets nerfed. Moonstone is nerfed. 2,500 gold. Improved particle visuals while in combat. Okay. 60 to 90 based on allies. 70 to 100 based on allies level. Starlight Grace heal multiplier in combat. 25%. Max 100. 12.5. What? Why? Why is this a thing? Why? What? What is going on? Who? Remember that time that AP Nunu got buffed? And they're not pointing any fingers. There was a certain someone that was trying to win their promos in California. They happened to play AP Nunu. So I'm wondering what's going on here. Who just lost? You know, what's going on? Who needs mandate? What's happening? Lock it to the. This is a joke. It's actually no. Increase the cost by 200 and increase the shield. Increase the cost by 300 and add a percentage max HP on the shield or something. What is this? Why are we just losing HP? Why? What? No one cares about this. I mean, it's a little bit more oppressive earlier on now, especially for support. You do get it considerably sooner, but like, no, this item, no, man, no. Shirley's Battle Song, 2,500. Inspire bonus damage, 40 to 60 based on allied 35. No, dude. Oh my god. Oh, this thing has mandated that no other item will be as good. What is going on? Crit Strike items, Gale Force, 55 to 60. Cloud Burst, cooldown 90 to 60 seconds. So this is interesting. Because Gale Force is one of the popping up items right now. If you guys have been watching Dom1 Gaming, the world champion jungler, he goes Gale Force on Graves. I do still think that Negan is just better, especially because Negan can go top, jungle, mid, and AD carry. And especially at higher MMR, he's like S tier pretty much everywhere. If you don't know what Negan is, it's basically Graves, and it's all lifesteal Graves. You go Overheal, you go Bloodline, you get healing inside of the runes, you go Shield Bow, you go Bloodthirster, and then Spirit Visage or Ravenous Hydra, or anything from there. Quite a few pros have been playing him. It's just a lot better. It does have some nuance that's different from Lethality Graves. In that, obviously, the times where you still go Lethality Graves or Gale Force Graves is when you can't auto-attack in combat. So if the enemy team has a lot of ranged champions, they have a lot of mages or something, they have a lot of CC, you can't auto-attack. So you can't heal, you can't deal damage or something like that, you can't get in range. Yes, you go Lethality, or you go Gale Force or something like that. And the reason that you do that is so that your Q and your R, or when you do manage to get one auto off with like an E auto, QR or something, it deals the most that you can possibly deal. And the reason that Negan is so good is because previously in Season 10, when he was originally called Negan, Bloodthirster, 80 attack damage, gave you a shield. Death Stance had a little bit of attack damage, some armor, MR, and then obviously a lot of healing and whatnot. But this season, he gets AD, crit, attack speed, and healing, and everything else is just better. And his items are just better. So Graves gets everything that he wanted in a core archetype build path. And the reason that it's called Negan is if you ever watch The Walking Dead, Graves looks like Negan, Lucille is bloodthirsty, whatever. It's just a way to, have something catch on. So that's the reason that it's called Negan. You can check it out on the patron tier list because he is their Typhoon. So attack damage 75 to 80 is what is okay. What I don't 75 to 80, Essence Reaver 50 to 55, Zeal 1200 to 1050. That is very big. That is a massive buff. This is super big. Wow. Rapid Fire Cannon down by 200. Phantom. Wow. Phantom. So another really big buff for both for mostly Graves. This is super big. I mean it's very big for other champions as well that are gonna end up going Phantom Dancer, but really for Graves this is huge because sometimes this is just the second or third item, and just having it be 200 less is so valuable. It's two camps that you shave off, which I mean I guess once you have your first core jungle item, it shaves off like 30 seconds or something like that, where you can recall and get it, but very powerful. Mortal Reminder is up by 100, but you get 10 AD. So I love changes like this. Please give me that utility third, fourth item for a little bit more expensive gold, but give me more damage. Let me have as much value as I can later. Lord Dominic's Regard, attack damage 30 to 35. No, okay, no, just give it to me. Okay. Infinity Edge no longer grants critical strike damage scaling with critical strike chance, max 40% at 100% crit chance. This is critical. If you have 60% critical strike chance, Infinity Edge now grants 35% critical strike damage. So this is really big. Obviously, I just mentioned Graves, and so obviously, if you run the numbers on Graves, he tends to just get 3 crit items. So this is actually perfect for him. This is gonna be really perfect for other marksmen that like to build crit, and they don't like to build much more crit than that. And so this is super big for them. And so that's very nice Infinity Edge change. Mana Mythics, Luden's Tempest, ability haste 10 to 20. Magic penetration is down by 4. So this is a really weird question because basically ever since ability haste and whatnot is logarithmic, what ends up happening is that you get into these really weird CDR values where sometimes items just aren't as efficient. Like when you're talking about third, fourth item, getting the ability haste on it isn't as powerful as just having something else. Like the question would end up becoming, would you rather get 3% more CDR or would you rather have 4 magic penetration? Obviously sometimes there will exist champions where yes, there are very unique combos. If you guys used to remember, Kayle from a very long time ago needed 37.5% CDR to have like permanent E or something. This is a very old Kayle, but sometimes there are magic numbers for certain abilities to have really good uptime. But this actually just seems like a nerf. I don't like this. Everfrost ability haste 10 to 20. Everfrost is interesting because I feel like this is the best mythic item outside of Liandry's in most cases, and people just don't realize it yet. It's just so powerful of an item, and getting a little bit more ability haste on it is definitely very good. This is definitely the item for like Taliyah, because if she's running through the wall, if she has high MS or something, she's coming off of an ultimate, Everfrost the opponent, do the ground thingy, shove them into you. It's just a really good snare. Everfrost is just so good on so many champions. AP Cho'Gath is definitely another one where you can go Everfrost on. Lissandra is another one where you can go Everfrost. You can just have insane CC. Ahri, this helps try to make her a champion, but unfortunately, she's a champion that only has 3 abilities, and she has very awkward itemization due to the way that her Q works. It's just counterintuitive, so it doesn't make sense. Legendary Mythics, Eclipse and Duskblade are both overperforming on ranged champions. Okay, Night Stalker's unhit slow is now only applied with melee attacks, just like before on 1023. Okay, for visibility when champion become Ever Rising Moonshield ranged 100 to 30% bonus AD to 75 plus 20% bonus AD. This still won't change some of the ranged champions that do want to build Eclipse. This definitely won't do a whole lot there. This definitely hurts Jhin, and it definitely hurts Lethality MF. It does hurt Lethality Senna a little bit as well, but I personally don't think it's enough to magically make it move off them. So it's not the end of the world, although they probably are losing like pretty close to a Ruby Crystal or something. Some tanks, systematic nerfs, okay. Total cost up by 100. This is actually really big. There's a lot of junglers right now that they do cut it really close to 1,000 gold recalls. calls depending on how they clear. If you guys have been playing Amumu, Malphite in the jungle, you know, Zac, any of the tank junglers, you'll know exactly what I mean. This one extra camp actually is obnoxious to do on some of them, and so this is a big nerf. The cost going up a little bit. Sunfire, Aegis 450 to 350, losing 100. You also lose damage because of the passive. This is the comical one. Frostfire Gauntlet has been nerfed. 275 to 250. Oh no. Mythic increased size 7.5 to 6%. Oh, take a drink of my Red Bull here. I'm gonna need wings in order to fly after that kind of a nerf, you know. Turbo Chem Tank, 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Who cares, man? Item shop updates. So this is one of the things that I'm really happy with that Riot's doing. The data is flowing nicely, and during 10.25 we'll be enhancing the recommended system with the latest and greatest builds from around the world. You can now pin open any quick buy panel by clicking OK. These are all really nice. These are really nice changes that Riot's doing. I think this is very good for newer players. This is one of my main concerns hopping into the season. Now, I do want to say, because I haven't talked about it in many places, some of my concerns that I had in the season ended up not being the case. I feel like itemization is actually simpler than it ever has been before, at least at this current point in time, for newer people. And I do like the new shop, and I like how a lot of things are streamlined. Now, one of the things I do want to say on the item shop update and like recommended items and all this other stuff is you need to check out BlitzGG. Now, you can get BlitzGG by blitz.gg/IMLS, okay? And you can use that to dodge. And you can also use it to check out runes and what all the pros are doing in that regard, even though Riot has their own little shop. Blitz has that shop as well. It's really good for dodging the 33% win rate, 110 game player in your champ select. It's really good dodging the first time Yasuo, who locks it in top lane first into a counter matchup. And, you know, it's definitely, it's really good. So you're going to want to check that one out as well. In-game chat updates. Font size decrease, chat widen. Okay, this is all fine. Nexus splits, don't really care. Ranked update. So this is interesting. Continuing our work on a rank. So this is really weird. Each game played banks 1 day of inactivity up to 10. After 10 days of inactivity, you'll begin consuming bank days. Once all bank days have been consumed, you'll lose 250 LP each day until you fall out of Master. Each game played banks 7 days of activity up to 28. After 28 days of activity, you'll be consuming bank days. Okay, so this is really strange. Once all bank days have been consumed, you'll have 50 LP each day until you fall out of diamonds. So this is really strange. So one of the things that Riot has tried to do, and I'm just going to talk about it right now because I don't know what the solution is Riot has tried to kill Duo Q and high MMR. Now, the thing that I want to touch on is the word MMR, okay? So if you fall out of Master Tier, you go back into Diamond, or you dodge a lot, okay? You dodge, you just sit there and you just dodge all day, right? You plant a Smurf, go on your main, get into a lobby, dodge. Do it again, dodge. Do it again, dodge. Do it again, dodge. Just keep plummeting LP. Eventually what's going to happen is you just have enough games banked up, you go play with your duo 20 games. And you get really close to Master, dodge away again. Dodge. And that's all you have to do. In fact, this was actually one of the climbing techniques that used to be popular in Korea, when Korea used to have weird stuff going on with the matchmaking. So what you would do is you would play up to Master promo, you'd dodge the promo. And then if you wanted, you just let the ID decay very quickly. You went off it for like a month or whatever. And then you'd go back on it, you'd play it again, etc. You know, certain people did this. He who shall not be named, you know, ended up doing it. Certain rank 1 extraordinaire on Korea did it several times because the MMR doesn't change. So unless Riot does something to that, that's still going to be there. So what'll end up happening is you'll have diamond players that are actually high challenger, and they're able to still play with each other. And so that'll be very interesting. We'll see how Riot approaches that, because dodging is very important. Dodging is, I can't emphasize it enough. If you're the type of person that thinks that you shouldn't dodge a 49% win rate player, 48% win rate player, you shouldn't dodge someone that has a 50% win rate on a champion or something like that, I don't know what to say. I mean, you're in rank to win, so you should be fighting for the biggest edges that are going to allow you to win the game. And, you know, you can also be in rank to try to get better. There's some people that are going to say, well, isn't it good to play, you know, with a handicap by playing with someone that maybe isn't going to be playing as well? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could have that mindset, but, like, it's a very big headache. So Dodging's definitely interesting. Lots of bug fixes, and then we're going to get into the skins. So let's recap all the changes. This was a very big patch. I know that I've been gone for a while, so I wanted to add a lot, and appreciate if you managed to stick through this. Amumu still S tier. Anivia definitely can be S tier, definitely should be competitively viable. Annie, still the queen. Ekko, much better now in the jungle than anywhere else. Still don't know about tank Ekko and whatnot. I know that tried to get some pro players to end up playing it. Obviously, Sunfire did just get hit and whatnot. But yeah, still don't know about that. Fizz nerfs low mid MMR way higher than. Well, I'm sorry, the invert doesn't really nerf low and mid MMR, but nerfs high MMR quite considerably because Fizz is going to be missing a playful trickster. Gragas, really big buff for lane Gragas, so support top lane Gragas, whatever. Not so much inside of the jungle. Irelia is already really good. Definitely nice buff. Ivern. I think this does take the cake. It's the biggest change of the patch. Ivern, S tier jungler, potentially able to go top lane or support as well. Definitely interesting combos there with Rengar. Jhin change, a little bit sad, whatever. Karthus change, very good. Kayle doesn't actually impact her that much. I already talked about why. So Kayle's still going to be S tier. Karthus going to be S tier again. Rhaast is still going to be S tier. Shadow Kayn, I think, does get hit by this a little bit more. Lee Sin, I don't really care, but go ahead, buy the skins. Lulu, very big changes for her. Definitely does nudge her a little bit. Mordekaiser, he's just lacking. Morgana change is a joke. Nasus change really just doesn't get the point of high MMR. Nasus, Nidalee change is very good, especially if it continues to help her go into the supportive role. Which if she's inside of the jungle, she's doing something like Mandate or anything like that, it's very big. Pantheon changes just hit everything. Samira change, very sad. Seraphine is very confusing. It's probably, it's getting up there with like nonsense where this is them really trying to force something that just doesn't make sense. But yeah, Seraphine's one of the best supports inside of the game. Shyvanna change, whatever. Taliyah change, whatever. Twitch change, whatever at this point in time. Yasuo, worse than Yone, so we'll see what they can end up doing to help Yasuo out. It's going to be really weird. I mean, I know that there were a couple of Yasuo mains that were, in favor of the suggestion that he should only be able to ult off of his own Q, which then opens up a lot of different avenues for Riot to be able to balance him differently, That would definitely be interesting. Rengar, W healing. This is really big for jungle Rengar, but again, I think jungle Rengar requires a comp setting. I think that like tank Rengar is probably going to be better than AD Rengar, but AD Rengar inside of SoloQ probably way better than tank Rengar. So this is very good. Warwick doesn't really matter. Talon, whatever. Wukong, whatever. Items. Some stuff doesn't make any sense. Some stuff I think is totally good. Jungler starter items. Obviously, this very big hit to Graves, but not the end of the world. Imperial Mandate makes no sense to me. I don't understand how this stuff happens. Gale Force change is really big. Essence Reaver buff, really good. Zeal buff, Rapid. I mean, all of these buffs are awesome. All of these, awesome. Luden's nerf, I'm going to call it a nerf. Everfrost buff, really good. Dustblade, okay. Eclipse, okay. Big nerfs to tank items, specifically inside of the jungle. I mean, obviously this also is another wave up in top lane, but if you end up doing the math on like if you're CSing really well and stuff like that, I don't think it actually comes into play that much. But yeah, it is nerfed to tank junglers. Definitely not the end of the world, although I do wonder how this interacts with like Warmog users. So that'll be interesting. I didn't talk about that in the live thing. Item shop update, definitely good. All right, let's get into the important part of again, I know that you guys have told me before, but I'm still a boomer, so there are a lot of skins to review. Alrighty. So this is Battle Queen Katarina, just in time to be one of the best champions in SoloQ. And is that a Blade of the Ruin King I see? Seems like they even got the right mythics. Now, I'm not really sure what she's fighting. When I do look down there, it almost does look like Maokai, or it does look like Elderwood or something like that. I'm going to just go with the lore here and say that that's a Kraken, and that she has a Kraken Slayer somewhere. So, I think right on time, Battle Queen Diana. This looks like a female version of Alucard from Symphony of the Night, one of the best Castlevanias ever released, and so I definitely do like that. I love all the coloring here, and this looks like a fantastic skin. I wonder how it actually looks in game, though. It strikes me as a skin that is going to look way worse in game than it does look inside of Splash. Battle Queen Qiyana, another really good mid lane champion right now for taking over SoloQ. Definitely very good. Do you notice this person in the background doesn't seem to have a face? I wonder. Oh my god, it actually looks like it's a doll. Do you notice that? I wonder if this is Oriana or something. I wonder if this is a robot or something. But no, the hair actually looks real. Wait, it doesn't have a face, and it looks like it has a wind up to it. So maybe these are like Riven bots that watch their favorite streamers and run into Solo. I don't really know. Battle Queen Janna. Ooh, it looks like a planeswalker or something from Magic the Gathering. This really looks like it's some green white or some Bant planeswalker. Looks really really pretty. Battle Queen Rell. I really like this. I don't know why this is looking like Sid from Toy Story or something, but I don't really know. I mean, I have no. You know what? Actually, they might have pulled this from. They might have actually gone to Sanchovi's house, and they might have pulled this from one of his childhood photo albums. Even back then, Sanchovi, he was always on the hunt, always on the prowl, looking for, anyone that he could look up to. And it seems like here he is a big fan of people that ride horses. So I am just letting you know. Clearly, this photo was taken at Disneyland. In the background, you can see, the magic castle. I don't really know, but definitely looks like another magic card as well. What is this? Elderwood, Zaya, and Rakan. So these two are together. I always love artwork like this. I'm a really big fan of it. I remember Pokemon Sword and Shield. You guys know that that gym, Bologna. I don't know the area. I thought that place was so pretty. Okay, well, if there was definitely something to go into the all right, I mean, honestly, it really looks like Ivern has been doing something other than just releasing Spirits of the Jungle. So clearly now what we're realizing is that we thought Ivern was potentially a good guy, but what's actually happening is this is actually Senator Palpatine, and this is Anakin Skywalker. And what's happening here is this location is that Sith planet or something. And clearly Yone, who I think that's Yone. Unless I'm totally wrong. Is that Yone? Please tell me that's Yone. I think that's Yone. I really hope something is just going on here. But yeah, we got Palpatine and we got Yone. So confirmed, Yone is Kylo Ren. So it definitely does make sense. Elderwood Azir. This just looks kind of weird. I don't know what to think of it. I think that this skin probably looks really cool inside of a game. Just looks really, I mean, definitely looks weird, but I really like it. It has a Halloween vibe too. Elderwood Orn. So why are his eyes blue, but the other guy's eyes were red? I don't really know what's going on here. So hopefully Orn figures out a way to build something worthwhile. Hopefully it's not a stone plate. That would definitely be a little bit of a tragedy, but it does seem like it seems like he has one hammer and he has another thing. I don't know what's going on here, but I don't really see a forge. For some reason, it's looking like Who Fed Blanca, and it looks like Blanca and Zangief had a kid, and they left it in the forest, and then we got this. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. I mean, alternatively, Blastoise and Venusaur, with all the Pokemon packs opening recently, they did happen to get it on, it seems like, and so this could be one of those, mix and match Pokemon things where this is the offspring of Blastoise and Venusaur. So, yeah, all right. Venator, whatever. Prestige edition on this. I think this is the best skin to get the Prestige edition. I mean, it just looks beautiful. It just looks so pretty. I could see this skin probably looking good in game, but the main one not. I'm trying to think what that reminds. It's like a Akali, right? The Prestige Akali, but yeah. So that's it, guys. Really long patch rundown. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Once again, SoloQ 10.25 notes tier list will be up today. It will be up today, either in text form. It will be up in text form no matter what. It'll be up in image form by tomorrow. Clash 10.25 tier list will be up for all the friends and whatnot. Another thing that I'm going to be doing on Patreon throughout this month is for the same tier as the SoloQ tier list. I'm going to be basically posting my thoughts and updates on preseason, good champions, answering questions, and other stuff. I'm going to be having frequent posts on the Patreon because I feel really bad that I was gone for like a month and a half. I know that a lot of people that watch these on YouTube and whatnot, you guys support me through Patreon or you support me on Twitch, and I'm really grateful for that. And so I think that's something that I can definitely do, and I can update it daily, and I can answer questions, and can have a lot of interaction on a post there. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing. But all right, thanks, and see you guys all later. Bye.